What's up, metalheads? This is Richie from Gravehuffer. You are listening to the Metal Meltdown with Dave Softee on Metal Messiah Radio. Crank it up!
Alrighty, here we go, Metal Maniacs. Please help me welcome back to Metal Messiah Radio, hailing from Joplin, Missouri, from Thrash Crust Metal Band Gravehuffer. Joining us once again, we have guitarist Ritchie Randall, here to tell us all about the band's upcoming new offering, NecroEclosion, to be out January 15th, 2021 through Black Doomba Records.
Hey, Dave, how's it
It's
going?
going good, bro. Keeping busy here at Metal Messiah Radio, and I want to welcome you back to the Metal Meltdown. And thank you again for reaching out to me to tell me about this great news. This is a perfect time to do this, so I'm really thankful that you could be here to talk about what's new with Gravehuffer.
Well, I appreciate you returning my message, and I'm glad to be here and chatting with you once again. And I really enjoyed it last time, so I'm really looking forward.
I really appreciate that. First of all, what's most important for me to find out is how you've been doing out there coping with this COVID pandemic.
Well, we're doing really good, all things considered, and it just so happened to be that when this pandemic thing came to fruition, that we were writing and recording this new record, NecroEclosion. So it was kind of, I guess, if you want to look at it in a positive light, it was good timing for us, because we weren't really playing any shows. We were just writing and recording. So for the band, band activities, that worked out. But like for live shows and things, yeah, it kind of sucked. Like we had, I think, 8 shows booked that we had to cancel this year. And we probably would have had a bunch more, but we just had to turn them down because, people weren't booking shows, or it was just kind of up in the air around March.
Right.
Still. And that's when a lot of shows were, we were playing a few shows there, playing some in April. We had stuff in May. We had stuff in June. We had stuff lined up for a good half the year. And we were playing some pretty big shows, and it was pretty disappointing, unfortunately, to not be able to play those. But it is what it is, and we're just kind of powering through it the best we can. And like I said, we were writing this new record, and we recorded it. It took about 6 months to write and record. We had ideas already prior to getting into the so-called studio, which is our bass player's attic. But he's got a full-on mixing desk up there and a full-on, DAW ready to go. And we had a drum room and a vocal booth and guitar cabinet, closet, and all the, it was really professionally done. He spent a lot of time and money putting that all together. When we can't play shows, is start writing music. So yeah, that's pretty much how we've been.
It's good to know that you've been able to keep busy. But what we're experiencing now, while we're talking, is the second wave of this is going crazy throughout the entire United States.
Yeah.
But on the brighter side, there's hope for these vaccines that I've been hearing in the news about. So hopefully, that could change the future of what's going on, and you'll be able to get out there and do shows. But we don't know. That's the unknown right now, which is really, really sad to say.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I've been seeing that stuff in the news as well. I think it's Pfizer is the company, the pharmaceutical company that I've been seeing promising some things about a vaccine, and I've been seeing numbers up in the upper 90 percentile that it's effective. Yeah, so that may be, fingers crossed that can be something that'll help get to some amount of normalcy. I think everybody wants to get to that point. So
let's hope so. I was agreeing with you. Yeah, let's hope so, because I also know there was a couple of other pharmaceutical companies, and the thing with Pfizer is the problem with that, from what I understand, is that vaccine needs to be really kept at a very cold temperature, whereas these other companies may not be that case. But getting this distributed, it's going to be the problem.
Yeah, exactly. How many billions of people are affected by this, and throughout the whole world. So yeah, it's going to be a process, and I think as long as everybody's patient and just tries to keep away from each other as much as possible, and wear your mask, and just try to be safe and be healthy and be careful. And I think everything will be okay. Personally speaking, I got tested Thursday, because a coworker of mine tested positive, and so he had to quarantine, and so they wanted to test me because we would there would be times in the office where we would be right next to each other wearing masks, but there would be probably times when we touched the same piece of mail or whatever, because I work in a mailroom for a university here. And so we would sort the mail, within a foot or less of each other sometimes. And so thankfully mine was negative, but they still don't want me coming back to work till after Thanksgiving, just to be on the safe side.
I don't think that's going to make a difference. A couple of weeks, really.
Yeah, right. My boss is, he's going to have to step up and do it, but put in a little bit more hard work to get through it. But
the scary thing about this whole thing and watching the news, we're close to 200,000 infections a day. That's crazy.
Yeah, it is. I mean, it's unreal. The numbers are just really just going through the roof, man.
But like I said, hopefully the vaccines work and all this. But let's get back to Gravehuffer and learn more about the situation with you and Black Doomba Records. I noticed that you're on this new label based in Atlanta, Georgia. What led you to sign with them?
Well, we were with No Slip Records prior to that, and we released an EP through them called Demon Face Stalingrad's Cross, just 2 songs on a 7-inch piece of vinyl, and we had like 4 different color combinations, and that was really successful for us and the label. And but unfortunately, No Slip Records, due to the pandemic, they were having some issues financially, so they were not sure whether they were going to put out our full-length NecroEclosion. So what we ended up doing was getting with Black Doomba Records, and basically how that all started was last year. We had done probably 4 or 5 shows with Tommy Stewart and his band Direwolf, and we played Chicago, Wisconsin, Texas, even here in Joplin, and we got to know Tommy really well, and I think he got to see us live a handful of times within a few weeks, and he was impressed enough to ask us, like, hey, if things don't work out with you and No Slip, would you come to Black Doomba? I mean, that's basically how that all started. And we're like, yeah, man, that'd be really cool. And Tommy's a guy that, he was in a band called Hollow's Eve in the 80s, and they were on Metal Blade Records. And so he's been there and done that. He's toured with Motorhead and Slayer, and I mean, he knows the business, and he knows the ups and downs and how to kind of cope with things. And he's a really smart guy, and he's a super nice guy. And we're just glad to be with Black Doomba. And ever since we've signed on, it's been just really positive. Like, the reaction from people has been super positive. And I feel like that the Gravehuffer brand, or the band name, all that stuff is just really getting out there in a big way. And Tommy's been, pulling strings for us. This Season of Mist, for instance, they're starting to make some merchandise for us, and so there's a lot of good things so far that have come out of the whole Black Doomba Records.
That's great to hear. It sounds like it was a very easy transition for you, and it sounds like it might work out really well for you.
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah, I mean that's the plan, and I think it's going to work out for both us and the label. As we like to promote pretty heavily, and so does the label. And I think we're learning from each other what to do and what not to do, and what's successful and what's not so successful, and just learning by. I feel like you can learn something new every day about trying to get your art out there to people. It's kind of difficult. so yeah, doing interviews, doing press, sending your record for reviews, and when to promote, what are good days, what are not so good days. It's something new every time.
You're working it, and you're working it very well.
Yeah, we're trying our best.
Let's talk more about the brand new offering, the upcoming NecroEclosion. First of all, let's talk about the 2 brand new singles that you have sent me, Ghost Dance and Causes. Let's learn about the process of getting these tunes ready for the new record. And you have all the music and ready for NecroEclosion. It's all said and done, all recorded and everything set to go?
Yeah. We turned it into the label in July, 1st of July, I believe. And so, yeah, it was recorded, mixed, mastered. Here you go. And so, yeah, the records are actually being pressed right this very moment at a place called GZ Media in, I think, Czech Republic. And, they're putting it on a 3-color vinyl.
Very nice.
Very yellow. Nice. Yeah, I think it's a splatter, black, yellow, and red splatter. So, yeah, it'll be really cool. Yeah.
But let's talk about the music you sent me. I checked them out. I'm thinking that the Ghost Dance is really the killer of the two that I really enjoy, and I'd like to know more about that. What was the writing process like for these songs?
For Ghost Dance in particular, that beginning riff was something that Mike and myself came up with probably 2 or 3 years ago. So that riff's one of the oldest ones, I guess, and it was something that we never could really find anything to really fit, Some of the stuff we had written prior, it never really fit with anything. And so what we did was just decide to work something around that riff because we just really liked it. And so, yeah, we started out with that. And once we got together with the other guys in the band, and we just all jammed it, all 4 of us, and got a kind of loose arrangement, so to speak. And yeah, it probably came together. Oh gosh, probably in a couple weeks. I don't even know if it took that long. It came together really quick, and I'm pretty sure the song, the Bare Bones, came together just in one day, and then we kind of finessed it and worked on it, and that took a few practices to get it to where we were happy with it. And then as far as the lyrics were concerned, a lot of the times when we're thinking about subject matter, that's kind of what comes first. I remember reading something about Wounded Knee Massacre, and I thought that would be something that would be emotional to write about, and something that I don't think gets enough attention. So I suggested we write it about the Wounded Knee Massacre. And our new singer, Travis, he ended up, I think it was the second set of lyrics he wrote for the album. He decided to call it Ghost Dance. And he really dug deep into where that came from. And what it is Native Americans, it's basically like it was like their last resort, I guess you could say, when the American army descended upon Wounded Knee. They disarmed the Native Americans and were trying to force them to give up their land. And the Native Americans, they were just pretty much, they felt powerless. So they did this ghost dance to basically try to, I guess, curse the army. And hopefully they could kind of make their way out of the situation. So unfortunately that didn't work. And there was a massacre of hundreds of Native Americans, and there's a memorial there now. But yeah, it was it's something that history will repeat itself if we don't pay attention to it. And so we do have a fair amount of songs that talk about those things, and I feel like you need to be aware of what's happened, what's going on in the world. We're not a political band. I would say we're more concerned citizens, if you want to put a label on it. We just want to make sure people are educated and aware of what's going on. So that's pretty much Ghost Dance.
I appreciate that, and thank you for sharing that story with us. It's pretty intense. Thank you.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, we made a lyric video for Ghost Dance also that's on YouTube, and that was pretty tough. We even had people message us, and DJs from radio stations message us and say that it made them kind of teary-eyed and, watching it, and it was very emotional for them. And so I think, we don't want to make people sad, but at the same time, we want people to realize that, stuff like this has happened before, and it could happen again if we're not careful. So we need to kind of reality check, for lack of a better term.
They say history never repeats, but as you're talking, it does repeat too often, unfortunately.
Right, yeah, it really does. And so we definitely want to make sure that doesn't ever
Right.
happen again.
Now tell me how the rest of the band is. Everybody's healthy. This COVID didn't affect anybody in the band?
Not so far. I mean, I think pretty much every one of us has been tested at one point or another, because it's so hard to avoid being in contact with people that have it. So, I mean, all of us work around people. Our singer Travis works at Lowe's, and so they're busier than crazy. I mean, it's just crazy busy, and so it's tough for him to get up to isolate and social distance and all that. Our bass player Mike, he kind of works in a cramped quarters for a TV station, and so he said there were two people at his work that had it. I work at a university. There's thousands of kids there at some points. And our drummer, he's a little bit more isolated. He lives in a small town called Carrollton, which is north of Kansas City, and he, funnily enough, grows weed. And
that's a good thing.
He's a pot farmer. I mean, it's legal. I mean, he grows medical marijuana.
Right.
So yeah, that's what he does, and he's able to kind of steer clear a bit more.
Well, at least everybody's being safe there. I mean, I know from my experience, from doing my gig with Mr. Softee, I would say 5% of people were out there wearing masks, which is not a good thing. And I think that's one of the reasons why we have this ever-growing situation with people getting infected. They're not wearing the mask. They're not social distancing. But if they would just do that, maybe things would be better. I mean, what could I say?
Right. Yeah. It seems like such an easy thing to ask, an easy thing to do, but people just have different opinions on all that, and I understand, but you got to think about other people, and the mask is more for the other people. It's so, I mean, maybe I think it's more to protect other people than yourself, because if you're affected, or if you're asymptomatic and you don't know if you have it, if you were to cough, the virus is in moisture. It's not an airborne virus, and so it comes out. That's why the masks are more effective, because it's like covering your mouth.
Exactly. It's all about respect. It really is. But in my circle of people, I've noticed that a good majority of people think this was all a hoax, and they still think that even now. And I think that's just really sad. Very sad situation.
Yeah, it's definitely. You don't want it to be political, and it should not be a political thing. It should just be a human thing.
We're on the same page on that, absolutely. So let's get back to NecroEclosion. As you were telling us earlier, it was pretty much all recorded in your own studios. And did you also produce this all yourself, mixed, mastered, and everything on your own, or did you get an outside producer?
We did it all ourselves. I think we've been doing this long enough to know what we want and how we want things to sound. That's not to say we'll never use an outside producer or mixer or whatever. But this time we were pretty adamant about doing it ourselves. So, but yeah, our bass player Mike, we pretty much credited him as the production of the record. I mean, he pretty much had the final say on how things sounded or what takes were used, and those kind of things, and kind of guided the ship, so to speak. Because he's recorded lots of bands prior to this, so he's been recording artists and bands for a good 20 plus years. So yeah, he knows what he's doing, and he's made money from it, and we trusted him. We did have it mastered professionally, especially since it was going to be put on vinyl. We did have somebody master it, and luckily we happen to know a guy that we used to be in a band with. That he went to music school, and he's worked in studios in Nashville, and he's got a professional mastering program that he uses, and so we trusted Gary to master it. And but yeah, other than that, it was pretty much all of us in the kitchen.
That's excellent. I tell you, I have a lot of respect for do-it-yourself bands, and you pretty much did everything yourself, which is outstanding.
Right.
And I'm really liking the cover art that I've noticed for NecroEclosion. Can you tell us more about that and the logo that appears on the CD art? Can you tell us about that as well?
Yeah, the art is pretty interesting. That was a piece that was done by Eric Sweet, who actually did the Your Fault album as well. And this was a painting that he had done, gosh, I mean, it's been I don't know, 15, 20 years ago, maybe even more. And it was hanging in the venue we like to play here called Blackthorn. It was hanging up there for years. I mean, probably 5, 6 years. That painting's always been with us. Well, eventually, Eric had mentioned something about wanting the painting back. Well, Mike took the painting from Blackthorn, took it back, and it was just outside the studio door. And so we saw the painting every day when we would go to record and write. I think it was our drummer, Jay. He said, "Hey, guys, why don't we just use this painting as the cover?" And we're like, I mean, it was just so obvious. We've been seeing it every day.
It was meant to be.
And we're like, yeah, this paint. Yeah, exactly. I mean, it was like that painting was with us the whole time we recorded the record. And so there was something symbolic about it. And it's very interesting. And that kind of influenced the title NecroEclosion, because it does kind of look like a alien cocoon or something, like rising from the dead or something. So yeah, and there's a lot going on in there if you look closely enough. But as far as the logo, are you asking about the band logo?
The circular band logo, yes.
Okay, yeah, that logo I was the guy that mastered our record, Gary. He's actually the one that came up with that kind of coffin pentagram design. And yeah, and so we're like, yeah, that's really cool. We'll use that. And then our bass player Mike kind of expanded on it and put the band name around it and the 3 stars ever since the beginning. But with each album, we tried to alter the logo a little bit just so we know, like, it just kind of defines that period. So this one made the coffin look more just visible, I guess, because it was starting to look a little cluttered. We had a lot of symbols inside of it. So we just made it nice and clean this time. And so that's kind of the defining period for this album.
It looks great.
So yeah, thanks. That's how it came out.
Well, as you know, Richie, one of the most important things about doing these interviews is to promote the new offering and whatever merch we can tell the fans on how they could support Gravehuffer. So let's give some links out there that we could inform the fans. I noticed there's a brand new Bandcamp, gravehuffer2.bandcamp.com/album/NecroEclosion. That's for this particular offering. Of course, you have the Facebook.com/Gravehuffer. And there's a Gravehuffer 2018. I noticed that's probably not a good link to go to from Thracia.com. But I want to make sure that's an older one.
That was the pre-order. Yeah, that was the pre-order for your fault.
Right.
Sorry.
I saw the 2018. I says, well, that can't be any good now unless they want to get your fault. But
right.
Are there any other links that we should know about for the fans to be able to support Gravehuffer?
Yeah, the band's Bandcamp page is gravehuffer.bandcamp.com, and that is where we have all of our previous releases, all of our merchandise, and we have tons of merch. We've got 4 different designs of T-shirts. We've got vinyl. We've got CDs, posters, face masks. I said posters, patches. Let's see what else. Seems like I'm forgetting something. Anyway, yeah, we got all kinds of stuff up there. Art books. Yeah, and so that kind of has been keeping us going ever since we can't play any live shows. So yeah, if you hit up our Bandcamp and click the merch tab, you'll get right up in there. So
it's great to know you got this 3-colored vinyl out there. I can't wait to see that, how it pops. The way you make it sound, it's going to look really awesome.
Yeah, it's going to be I think it's going to be black with yellow and red splatter.
Very nice.
Yeah.
And Richie, we're talking about videos before for the NecroEclosion release. You talked about your Ghost Dance lyric video. But is there a plan in process for making more music or lyrical videos for NecroEclosion?
Yes, we have another lyric video coming out for the song Sights to the Sky. And that's about Buzz Aldrin, which, as most will know, he was one of the first men to walk on the moon. So, yeah, that's about him. And for whatever reason, we just thought it'd be, really cool to write a song dedicated to Buzz Aldrin. And another really, really, really cool thing about that is Chewy, Dan Mongrain, the guitar player from Voivod, he plays the guitar solo on that song. And so that's like mind-blowing
That's
to
special,
me.
very special.
So it is. It's very, very, very cool. And he was super gracious about it. And the solo he plays on it is unbelievable. It is so cool. I mean, you can totally tell it's got that Voivod touch, you know. And he's invited us to hang with the Voivod guys anytime they come around. And we'll play a show or two with them. I don't know. But, I mean, it's something that's kind of being talked about. So, you never know. That's kind of why we like working with people and networking, and it's all one big metal family anyway. So yeah. And causes, we don't have a video right at this moment, but we might try to make a video for that.
That's
one
cool.
too.
That's cool. And as you were just saying, leads me into my next question now. Of course, as we discussed about this COVID situation, tour plan and anything like that is pretty much up in the air, but have you been given any time to think about the future of this and what you may plan on doing once it's okay to do so as far as tour support?
Yeah, actually we've got 4 or 5 shows booked next year, to be honest with you. We may even be coming up your area. We are playing in Frederick, Maryland, and it's the Maryland Doom Festival. And we'll be playing that with a whole bunch of bands, namely Tommy Stewart's Direwolf, our label guy. He's there to promote the label, plus his band's playing, so that'll be really cool to hang with Tommy again and play to some people.
What's the date on that, by the way?
And then it's end of June. I don't know the exact date. June 27th.
That's a long ways
or
off,
something.
so hopefully this pandemic will be under control by then.
Right, yeah. That's the plan, because it was supposed to be this last October, but it got canceled. So yeah, that's, we got that. We've got New Jersey Metal Fest 7, and that's going to be in Teaneck, New Jersey. I'm trying to think. I'm not sure who's playing that. I think it's going to be it seems like it was in September. I'm not 100% sure on that. Maybe August. But yeah, that'll be a fun one. We're also going to be playing in British Columbia, Vancouver, and that's going to be the Sludge in the Swamp Fest. Yeah, that'll be really cool. And all these festivals I'm telling you about, we'll definitely be playing a few shows going to or coming back from these. So I mean, we've already got one booked on the way to the Maryland Death Fest, and that's going to be in the Chicago area. So that last week of June. And then we're going to be playing in New Orleans maybe it's in July. I believe it's in July. Second weekend in July. And it's called Creepy Fest. And they basically take over New Orleans for about a week and take over all the small venues there and just have a bunch of shows going on. And so we're scheduled to play that as well. And I always feel like I'm forgetting somebody. But those are the ones that I know for a fact that we are booked and we are playing. So, and like I said, we'll be playing stuff in between there, here and there. So yeah, I'm imagining that we'll probably start stuff. We may even dip our toes in a show or two locally, like in the spring, February, March, April, just to see, there's people already playing shows already now. And they're having socially distant shows, and I'm not sure how all that's working. But to my knowledge, it seems to be pretty successful, and the turnouts are being pretty good. And it seems like people are being pretty cool about things, and not, everybody's masking up and being, good about it. So, we'll see what happens. You just never know. But oh yeah, we are going to do a live stream show around the holidays, around Christmas and New Year's. We're not exactly sure, but we're going to have that filmed and broadcast live. And we're going to go to Overland Park, Kansas to do that. A friend of ours that runs sound, he did sound for the Topeka Metal Fest in years past. And so he's going to put that together for us. And I think it's going to be a multi-camera full professionally mixed sound and broadcast live, and we'll probably have it through StreamYard, and StreamYard's a website where you can broadcast simultaneous live streams over your different social media platforms like Instagram and Facebook and Twitter and Twitch, I believe, as well. So yeah, that's coming up here in a month and a half or so, but we need to get off our butts and practice. But that's coming here in a couple weeks once we get the new studio rehearsal room
This is all
finished.
great news, Richie. Thank you for sharing that with us, and I really hope that you'll be able to do these shows. Hopefully, by that time frame, everything is going to be under control, and you won't have any issues with performing live at these venues. I really hope it works out for you.
Thanks, Dave. I really do as well. I mean, and I think everybody is dying to play shows, but we need to be careful. But at the same time, I think we can still have fun and hang out and do what we love to do. We just need to be a little more mindful of other people.
Better safe than sorry, they say, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Richie, do you consider yourself to be a gearhead? Do you have any new toys that you like to talk about? Would you like to talk about your guitars, anything like that?
Yeah, I think since we've last spoke, I've probably got 4 or 5 different endorsements since then. I'm with a new guitar. Yeah, I'm with a new guitar company now called Solar Guitars. Not sure if you've heard of them or not, but they're a pretty popular company now, and I've been with them for about a year or so, and I've got like 3 of them now, and they've been fantastic. And probably I gotta say, I've had Gibsons, I've had Jacksons, I've had lots of nice guitars, but these Solars they've got to be the favorite that I've ever had. I mean, they play good, they sound good, and they look awesome. And I've got a new amplifier endorsement, Custom Audio Mutation, dude out of Ohio that used to play in Annihilator and Evermore. His name's Coran Murphy, and he actually plays a solo on the new record. But he builds amps, and he works on amps. He works on guitars. I mean, the dude talk about a gearhead. he's definitely one. And he made me a custom amp, and it's got the Tolex on it that's silver, reflective silver with an alligator print. It's crazy cool, and it just sounds really good, and it's perfect for what I do. And then we got a cabinet endorsement, a place called Arachnid Cabinets. They're out of California. Dude's his name's Robert Calhoun. He's got a cool band called Wormflesh, by the way. And he built us cabinets, myself and Mike, our bass player, cabinets. And they're mine's silver with blood splatter. And it's got like a Gravehuffer art on the front. And our bass player's got 2 cabinets, and his are white with like it's not a blood splatter, but it is a splatter design. It's different color splatter, but it matches the art that he has. He's got Godzilla on one speaker, and then the other speaker is a painting by Eric Sweet, who did the NecroEclosion painting. And so it's just, every time we wheel those Arachnid cabinets in to play a show, everybody's like, whoa, it blows their minds. So we couldn't be happier. I've also got SIT strings, in-tune guitar picks, Pig Hog cables, which Steve Vai uses those. And so, I mean, there's so many cool companies that we're associated with now. I just can't wait to get out there and start actually using them and playing.
I want to thank you for sharing that info with us, Richie. It's great to know that Gravehuffer is really going in a good direction with these endorsements. Really cool.
Yeah, it really is. I appreciate you acknowledging that.
It's true, right? Richie, is there anything you'd like to say to your fans that are tuning in around the world at this time?
Well, Metal Messiah Radio has been really good to us. Just like quite a few of the DJs there that play our music, and I've done interviews with a few of the DJs now, and I gotta say it's always a pleasure, and everybody there just really knows their music, and so it's honestly, I'm just honored to be able to talk with you guys always. And everybody that listens to the station, they just seem very passionate about the music, no matter what style. And I'm glad that they're give us a chance and all the other underground bands a chance. And
thank you for saying that. That's what it's all about, bro. I want to thank you for your kind words, Richie, and I want to thank you for joining us again on Metal Meltdown on Metal Messiah Radio, and for the opportunity to learn more about your brand new album coming out. NecroEclosion, I want to wish everyone in the band safety and prosperity in the coming year. Have a great 2021. Cheers, Richie.
Right. Yeah. You too, Dave. I appreciate you taking your time out of your day to talk to me about all things
It's
Gravehuffer.
always a pleasure. I can't wait for the next time also. It's always a pleasure to talk to you, Richie.
Same here,
Let's
Dave.
go
Let's crank up.
Gravehuffer now and crank it up loud.